And she's buying the stairway to heaven. Isn't that the truth? Man, I'll tell you what, folks, how are y'all doing? Thank you for tuning in and turning on and being a part of this fabulous, fabulous adventure. And folks, it is an adventure. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is a fact as everything gets loaded up here. I think that we're good. It says excellent connection. So what is there? I am. Took it a second, I was like, okay, this is a delay of your reality. All right, that's cool. But anyway, it says there I am. Hey, dude, good to see you. Just everything running a little bit slow. I wonder if it has to do with that CME on the way. Yeah, according to Ben, and the whole thing that says how these CMEs work. This one's going to apparently, who knows? They see the aurora far south again. But anyway, it should be fun. So welcome. How is everybody? Let me just speak favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And so many good people in the chat room. Mr. Floyd, we're going to get a date settled there. Hello, Stephanie Marie, Chris, Joyce, good to see you. Hello, Lauren. What's up, girl? How are you doing? Nina, how are you doing? Good to see you. Just going back here and trying to make sure. Millie, good to see you. Arlen, good to see you as well. Gilbert, brother, how you doing? Hey, I sent you some of my pictures. It's looking good. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Some of us have this little side thing, Seth, what's up? Good to see you. And I'll just say hi to Gaia and Colleen and all the rest of you. So good to see you. Bonnie, hello. Um, so I'll tell you, world getting really, really interesting. I'll be doing a show on that one. Yeah, folks, we live in a time that I never thought. I mean, the 70s was pretty fucked up, but I tell you what, 2000, who would have thought? So I know many of you are boomers, so and those of you not, you'll still have your perspective, but for us, 70s were pretty late 60s, early 70s, pretty turbulent years. I mean, there were bombings going on and all these protests and assassinations, and we had the damn Vietnam War. We were stuck in Korea and we were obligated to NATO and we're rebuilding Japan and, yeah, spending money. Inflation was high. Gold was suppressed until Nixon took us off. And then, you um, but yeah, but the one thing we had was the magic, the music. And not everyone was into rock and roll. You know, sometimes we talk like, well, the whole world was. That's kind of true. I mean, the Beatles they did shuffle the deck, didn't they? Say what you will about the Beatles, but man, they moved the consciousness. They had a direct impact into this ethereal realm that humans supposedly occupy. But anyway, and it sucked. Had some friends that went off to Nam. Couple didn't make it. The other three that came back, one was really messed up. Grady, wow. Grady was a dude that before he went, super laid back. I mean, um, the fabulous freak brothers finish, he had that look. And the dude just didn't get too wrapped up about anything. I remember he cut himself. I forget where, I think it was in shop or something. And, yeah. Yeah, came back and there was a move in that happened out there. But anyway, we live in some pretty interesting times. Guess some are good, a lot of them not so good. And folks, this there is something that is unfolded here. I don't think it can be stopped. Um, I don't think humanity wants to stop it. That's a sad commentary, but it seems to be the problem with Homo sapiens. I believe Homo sapiens, if you look at different points of view, the Adam and Eve story is just a myth, but you sometimes have to read between the lines, as I did the show last week on. So the reason why we know the story is a fallacy is that the historical record says, I mean, there were Homo neanderthalis was here, Homo cro-magnolus, Homo divison, probably a couple of others I haven't quoted. And then out of the fucking blue, humans show up, Homo sapiens. The best that we can judge, 250,000 years is, you know, probably pretty accurate, which then shows that there's this whole thing of history that's wiped out. We only get access to it through the Akashic record, and those who, and many of us do, we tap into that realm. And many times we have dreams, visions, and yeah. And we're at this point where I'm telling you, it's messed up. It's truly the worst acid trip I think a person could ever want to be on. The truth is a lie. The lie is the truth. It seems the control structure is afraid of the truth. Therefore, they suppress the truth and then they reinvent the lie to represent to be the truth. That's messed up. What species wants to do that? It's like, oh yeah, sign me up for that one, buddy. And you look at, it, several of my videos. I think the one I said, did they make Trump a demigod? I don't think Facebook lets it on there. They didn't let the other one on that the media is basically are satanic cults. Some people just don't have that sense of humor and open mind. A keen wit and sharp sense of humor is a sign of high intelligence. Anyway, hey, John Price, what's up? Good to see you. Black Sheep Researcher, how's the research going? Cheers to you. Shirley, hello. Aaron, good to see you. Lost in Space, how are you doing? Go. Want to give a shout out to Guy. Keep it in your thoughts. Send some positive energy. Um, Nathan Sintek lives in Poland, and they've gotten the rain that we direly need where I live. And saw some video of the city he lives in. Very nice city, by the way. But they're experiencing a lot of rain. So just send some positive thoughts over there to our brother Nathan and give him a high five. And if you're so inclined, go over to Etsy and check out his store there. Mark, what's up? Good to see you, DC. Hello. Um, good day to you, sir. Robert Scott, how are you? Good to see you as well. So let's get right into this. Because we can get into and we will in another show. But because what's going on is some of the blackest magic I have ever seen. It's being done through these news outlets and through other type of programming. And this is all about spells and curses, folks. It may very well be a curse that's been cursed upon us. Has all the indications of that. And I have said that I'm on the record for this, that the internet, I was there in the early days, but the internet is not what humans think it is. We have literally surrendered our souls and sovereignty to a machine, to an unseen entity. Oh, we try to rational it and say, well, Wayne, it has to have, electricity, then it has to have the servers, and then it has to have the connectivity. Yeah, I get it. Did really well in JDS Uniphase and Red Blocks. I mean, back in the day, man, folks, those were the stocks to own, and I'm telling you what, they kicked ass. But anyway, I digress. And so most people say, it has to have these components. I argue, no, it doesn't. Listen, each one of us are sitting in wherever we're sitting, standing, doing whatever you're doing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting the like button, and make sure that you have subscribed. I don't do that. Someone wrote to me and said, you really ought to do that more. So, yeah. But anyway, wherever we are sitting at right now, there are radio waves, there's broadcast waves, all going right through us, impacting us. You don't know it, you don't recognize it, and if you could, it would drive you crazy. The white noise would be, wow, off the scale. Black noise. So the internet. I was into my religion 50 years. Yeah. And I experienced what I would call the supernatural. So we talked about that. But anyway, I was very much aware, because I was in evangelical work, that not everybody in the world has heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? So it was my duty to go out there and convert. Messed up, man. If you listen to it, this has got the occult written all over it. And, it was always back in that day when we didn't have the internet, was that, well, then how do you get this word out? The problem with it today is that it's too much noise. But anyway, I was a part of that mindset that said, so how do you reach every person? One of the prophecies was that when this word would be proclaimed to all of humanity, technically we're already there. It's in the internet. And when I left my religion, I began to realize that, well, what this is really about is mind control. You control a person's mind, you can control their soul, you control their beliefs, you can control their fears. It becomes pretty simple. The vast majority of Americans are in that state. But so when the internet began to grow, and once it adapted to us, or shall I say, we adapted to it, I'm not so convinced that we created this. I am more on the side that it was downloaded to us. 10 years on YouTube, you cover a lot of subjects, and we covered this, and I did a great PowerPoint on this one that showed how this transition took place. And it's the Obama doctrine, nudging. You never push your opponent. You push your opponent, you're risking a whole lot. And I think that that's what we're seeing today. Obama's doctrine was that you nudge your enemy. And when the enemy realizes that it's been nudged so far, it's incapable of going back to where the nudge started. And as this adaptation began, at first it was really expensive to be on the net. Remember AOL? Charging you by the freaking minute. Yeah. Today we would find that, well, number one, it'd be illegal, but nevertheless. So as we sold our soul to this all-knowing entity, we created it. It began to convert more and more and more and more people to where today it controls the world financial system. No government could exist without it. No business can exist without it, for the most part. Transportation, communication, it controls everything. With the United States Federal Reserve rolling out Fed Now, that's going to be a bad day in the neighborhood, kids. And they're rolling it out. That is Big Brother on steroids. It's going to be shocking to see some of the uh, possibilities that this Fed Now works out. It's converting to the digital dollar. Once again, digital. And as we all have been converted, we're all convertees. Doesn't matter how you see it, whether you think that you're using it for good, using it for bad, doesn't matter. You're in it. And we are. All right, so that's just the way it rolls here in the 21st century. Okay, I can dig that. But within every system, you have to get the mindset of the programmer. What was the system designed to do? Why is it designed to do that? Most humans today, unfortunately, are at such a low level of cognitive functionality. They can't think, they can't remember, they're confused. And as a result, if you look going forward in the next 50 years, what's humanity going to look like? This thing is real. We're in it. It's alive. And it's just my hypothesis that, as in nature, I believe that this is represented in the other realms. There's going to be no void of where energy is. Energy will draw upon itself those who will feed off of it. Now, if you look at conversion, you think about it, if any one political party ever got a hold of where it got a hold of 95% of the mass of humanity, it's all over, brother. It's going to be only one way. And if you resist that, well, you're going to be dealt with. Think about religion, same thing. If you could convert 95% of the world's population to your religion, there will be no other religion. So we have surrendered our, what did you see that glitch? Just saw that. Very interesting. They know that I'm talking about them. Um, so you have this mass of humanity and we've surrendered our sovereignty. Freedom, there is no freedom. We have limited exceptions of which we're allowed to exist in. Free speech, there is no such thing, free speech. It's highly censored and it's highly regulated. Now, since the conversion hasn't completed its full cycle, they allow those like us, the free thinkers, the questioners, to operate within their restricted territory. But you have to do it wisely because they're always listening. And so, like a religion, where we have given up our sovereignty to an unseen God that is the internet. Any search engine is a part of the other search engines. That is, you know, the oracle, the most interesting oracle we have ever created. It's here and it operates, and more people operate within it. They give homage to it, so much so that they'll watch a commercial to where there's commerce taking place. And then, you get your answer. May not be the right answer, but you get an answer. And as we have surrendered our finances, our culture, commerce, transportation, it's all now connected. Again, it is my hypothesis that there are entities that are now active in the internet that did not exist prior to this internet. Now, different cultures throughout the world, different belief systems, had their own form of that. It was highly limited. And you could really say those were the early days of what we were eventually destined to create. I believe we created our own doom, but I'm still positive that we created our own doom. And I contend that the ethereal realm is a dimension that we're going to talk about dreams because something happened on Friday night. I wasn't alone in what happened. And Gaia, I'm going to read your email just so you can see it. But what happened? And I'm sure that there are some others. But to finish up the thought here is the fact that these entities now operate in this thing we call the internet. And as the internet continues to evolve, because it will, it's a part of creation now. I contend it can't be shut down, even if the planet was to experience an Ellie event. I believe that it's figured out this energy, this unseen, invisible energy that Tesla tried to tell us about. It's here. You look at my channel, there's others out there in any of the world expositions. How did they have electric boats and electric cars and people movers in Chicago, in St. Louis? How did that? No, you don't read about that. So what were they tapping into? I believe that the internet has tapped in there, and I do believe because I don't think that the realm was really occupied in a sense. Maybe God had some part of that, but no one was really claiming it. I believe the internet now has claimed that. It understands that principle. And again, wipe away all the buildings doesn't matter. It will be underground. It will live within the mountains. And it's carried us. And whatever it does with whatever the essence of us is, won't be anything like we could imagine. We're going to get even deeper into this because here's a question. And it's a quick poll. So everyone in the chat room, and would you answer? And if you're watching this on replay, please comment. Have you ever been a part of a seance? Hey, Rick, what's up? Good to see you, brother. Carol, hello. Have you ever been a part of a seance? Have you ever, as a child or young adult, participated in a Ouija board session? Have you, in any way, as a group of maybe, girls like to do this, so I'm told, that they really kind of really dig the occult, and they're more apt to actually perform a ritual conduct a seance, communicate to the dead. And that's really what we're talking about here is communicating to the dead through the internet. Now, I believe the dead have found the internet as well. Now, I don't know what type of structure it is on that end, but they're aware of the internet. You cannot help but not be. This is a place where humans, any person that has passed, can come to the internet and still visit their loved ones and friends and what have you. I believe within this realm, it can be used for cursing, it can be used for rituals, it can be used for blessing. And when the dead realized that the spirits, these other non-human spirit entities, found this realm, it was, again, I think it still probably is the Wild West. Don't think that any one particular group actually commands a majority. Could be wrong, but I just got a sense that a lot of things are still being fought, a lot of things are still being sorted out. So, if you've conducted or ever been a part of a seance or any type of that communication, you're really communicating to the dead because is God alive? Well, if he doesn't have a physical body, he wouldn't be alive, right? So, and my theory is that this is the death realm. They probably want to know more about the death realm. Think about that. And those that have died have this truth, but I don't believe that they can actually come back and tell us. We could, So now we have this thing, and it's been shown that the internet can open up portals, doorways. So if all of these things are true, imagine about conducting a seance through the internet. Oddly enough, I happened to capture, I love independent films and up and coming directors. And there actually was a group that attempted to do that. Now, whether it was hyperbole or fiction or a combination of reality and fiction, apparently bad shit happens if you don't have your shit together, even through the internet. In fact, it's probably stronger because when you're in a close proximity to one another, where typically you would hold hands and then conduct the seance, having a medium and those who are able to tap into that other realm, you only have the energy of that group. But when you do it on the internet, now you have, it's like an amplitude of 10 to the 10th power. Phenomenal. And I contend that there are active entities that I don't know if they smell us. I think it's more they're drawn to a vibration or a frequency. And some of these entities are very bad hombres. They don't play well with others. They're not very nice. And it can get pretty ugly. We're going to talk more about this because at the same time, though, using different manners of approach, technique, etc., it is in fact very possible that you will make contact with those on the other side. Thursday, I did the show on the Dreamscape. And I want to share this. And if you haven't seen this, go back and read in the comments section because I was up really early. And in fact, it still impacts me. I can see it. But let me read to you, if you haven't seen this, what happened to me. Now, Friday night, I said, had the most amazing dream last night, Friday. The god Hermes, Mercury, came out of a room and stood before me. I could see actual wings protruding out of his helmet. He wore a breastplate with symbols on it. The color was golden, but not gold. That's very important. The texture was more leather-like, and his footwear were not sandals as I was expecting, but actually they were boots. Um, he was standing with a group of other people. He called me by my actual given name and handed me a golden piece of clothing. I held it in both hands, and it kind of reminded me of like potentially PJs or something that felt like silk. And he told me to put them on, and I did. When I had a when I did, I had a breastplate similar to his, but not with the symbols that he had. And then he shook my hand intensely. I mean, shook it intensely. Um, uh, the handshake was intense, and he stopped in the middle of my palm. And in the middle of my palm, there was a world, small enough to be in the palm of my hand, but it was a living world. We were in a mountain that was huge, so many others there, and there was this woman. Guy, I'm going to write you something else on this because it occurred to me anyway. Felt that she was a goddess. She held a salt shaker and asked me if I would clean it for her. Hermes was standing there, and then I just flew up. I flew up to a place where I emptied the old salt within the shaker, and there was a number of things going on. I mean, it was like I flew up to, it was like the 19th floor or something, and there was this atrium, and yeah, and it was interesting because when I was emptying the salt, I had to empty it into this, plate. And there were others behind, and I couldn't tell you what they were, but I sensed that there was something there that was assisting me in cleaning this. Let's see. Let me find out. I flew up to the place where I emptied the old salt within the shaker and flew back to her, where she then proceeded to fill it with the most brilliant white crystalline substance. Hermes then led me to, and this is strange, a large truck, much like a half track, if you know what one of those are, and told me to join him to go to a place outside the mountain. There were several others in the vehicle as well. We all had on the same outerwear as I had on. Then he turned around and had the most intense, encouraging expression on his face as he stared to me. At this point, I awakened from the dream state. The time was 3:29 a.m. I was conscious and very much aware of what had just experienced, and I knew instinctively that this was more than just a dream. I gave thanks to Hermes and to the woman whom I cannot place yet, but I did verbally give thanks to Hermes, asking that we might meet again. And this is what was really strange. And then I heard in my spirit the Moody Blues song, Eternity Road. So I did some research, and as you can see, this is all written on the comment section on the Dream State. Found this particular website, and it was interesting because I put this in a number of them, but this one had, I don't know, just made sense to me. So the symbolic meaning, the dream seems to radiate symbols of growth, transformation, and new responsibilities. Hermes / Mercury, the god of travelers and messengers in mythology, appearing in the dream could suggest a journey or significant change ahead. His gold color represents wealth, prosperity, and wisdom, a sign of good things to come. His offer of gold clothing indicates empowerment or an invitation to grow. The world in the palm of your hand is a pretty clear symbol of control, responsibility, and potential influence. The salt shaker could symbolize purification, and the unknown woman, divine guidance. Practical advice. Embrace the change that might be arriving in your life. You might face new challenges or roles that could feel overwhelming, but your dreams suggest you have the inner wisdom and strength to navigate them skillfully. The presence of the divine figure indicates that you will have guidance and assistance, so trust the journey. Influencing factors. This dream could be influenced by current events in your waking life. You might be on the verge of a very big change in life or facing situations that require stepping up and taking responsibility. Internal questions about your purpose or identity can also play a role. Now, here's the psychologist's interpretation. This dream suggests a spiritual or personal transformation and indicates change in regard to your life's directions, responsibilities, and purpose. The intense emotions and the vibrant details speak of how deeply it impacts you, offering a truly transformational experience. And so Gaia, she had a dream of her own. And I just want to read this because, this tells me that something else is going on. Um, she said, read your email about your dream, very auspicious to say the least. I had a dream that very night that you had your powerful experience. My dream was very lucid as well. I dreamt of a gray pickup truck and a group of people standing around the bed of the truck. Guy, isn't it odd? Because the trucks, that group, I have a belief, a suspicion, it's us. When I said on Thursday, and if you have committed to us, you're probably on that truck. Would you agree, Gaia? Um, a woman standing next to the truck had in her hand a very large white pumpkin. I sensed we all were in a pumpkin patch, feeling like we were a team of sorts on a mission. Then I woke up around 3:30ish. I told Paul the following morning about it because it was so vivid and I knew it had a deep meaning for me. And this is what, folks, get ready for this. Guy, this is just so interesting. She says, I believe that our two experiences are connected. The spiritual meaning of seeing a pickup truck in your dreams symbolizes the journey of life, conveying messages or guidance from the spirit realm. You can't make this stuff up, folks. I mean, get this. White pumpkin represents abundance, prosperity, and security and good fortune. Pumpkins in a dream represent the whole world now, like the whole world in your hand. She says, I'm still uncovering more things about this dream experience. I sense that we are being called to a higher purpose now. And as I see the world today, this is a calling. As such, the white pumpkin is powerful emblem of resilience, hope, and the endless possibilities that come with every new beginning. God, I just love it, girl. I mean, wow. So there you go. Get myself back here. What do y'all think? I mean, did anyone else experience out of the ordinary type of a dream on Friday night? This is amazing stuff. And someone said white buffalo. Yeah, yeah. So pretty intense. And then I went out and I said, well, what about this Hermes? I mean, because this was like, well, um, what do you say? I mean, it was not my intent to ever dream of Hermes, but nevertheless, I did. And I thought this was interesting. This is Dr. Richard Stromer, and he says Hermes is the god of liminality and the guide of souls. Hermes is a god who wears many masks, messenger of the gods, god of communication and commerce, trickster, magician, and in perhaps his most mystical guise, god of liminality and the guide of souls. It is on these last two roles of Hermes as master of the in-between space we call liminal. You ever see the videos? Kane Pixel Kane, does a lot of videos on liminal spaces. Yeah. It is on, and as a psychopomp, guiding both the souls of the dead to the underworld and of the sleeping to the realm of dreams. That this essay will focus the observation of some key psychologists, classicists, and other scholars who have commented extensively on the meaning and implications of the two interrelated roles of Hermes also will be considered. And what I found so interesting on this was that Hermes is, he talks. That's the other thing I'm coming to believe. I believe these gods and goddesses are looking for people such as myself and Guy and others. If you're here, probably you, most likely. Um, and if you are ready to communicate with them, to be open to when they appear, I believe that there is great reward for that. As I said earlier, I'm convinced that they're alive now. They have been reborn, resurrected. You see, the Iliad uh, has a major role of Hermes. One Carl said observes that the world of the Iliad is not the world of Hermes because most of the Iliad deals with unresolvable conflicts between warring parties, whether mortal or divine. In such a world, there is little room for a God who always seeks alternatives and clever meanings to finding the middle ground between opposing point of view. Yet, he goes on to comment that the entire final battle sweep book, in which the heroic world of the Iliad suddenly displays is unpredictably tenderness, stands under the sign of Hermes. Hermes is a big, big deal. I want to read this one. Related to this idea of Hermes as a god of psychic night in his role as the god who brings dreams to sleeping mortals. Ariana Stephanopoulos describes him as the god who, with his rod, puts men and women to sleep and sent them dreams, messages from beyond the border of everyday reality that illuminate our experience and bring eternity into time. She goes on to add that Hermes, in his guise of bringer of dreams, was also called I think that this is the Phthistherist, the word which still in modern Greek means whisper, and acknowledges that this god taught me to listen to the inner whisperings that tend to get drowned in the mind's cacophony and to value and respect my dreams. And this is her experience. Because of this quality of Hermes, Otto notes that among the ancient Greeks, he was remembered with reverence after a significant dream. I gave thanks to him. It wasn't something of me, it was in reverence. I appreciated, I knew that this was significant. I personally think that this was an answer to a lot of the questions that I put forth on Thursday's show, but this could not be a mere coincidence. And again, I want to go back up here. It said he writes the guidance along the ways that are dark that enables us to appreciate the connection of Hermes with the spirits of the dead, the realm of death, and its gods. Finishing out the thought, I believe that these ancient gods and goddesses are here. I believe they're alive. Now, the conspiracy part of me says someone else figured this out before I did. And the gods and goddesses being who and what they are, even the God of the Bible is the same gods. It is Enki, Enya, Iana. I mean, they're children. I believe that they are, in fact, part human and part divine. They're alive. And being true to their nature, they will make deals. I think many go unappreciated, and it is those mortals who have that part of them that can, number one, accept this as a potential possibility and actually respect it. They will in kind show the same to you. So Hermes, trying to watch my time here, but yeah, who would have thought? In addition to his role as the bringer of dreams, Stein reminds us, Hermes is a magician who is able to lull the defenses to sleep and also to alert them and wake them up to danger. Clearly, we see the god engaged in this guise in the last book of the Iliad, both when he puts the Greek guards to sleep in the midst of the dinner preparations and when he arrives before dawn to wake the sleeping Priam and warn him of the need to depart with haste back to Troy. In a similar vein, Jeanette Paris notes that the modern psychologist uses this aspect of the Hermetic with a patient whose problem is psychosomatic when he puts the problem to sleep, lowering the defense mechanism in order to root it out. Wow. I mean, I don't know what else you really say about this. Let me see. Okay, I'll stop right there. Ta-da! She goes, ta-da! Do. Okay, I'm trying to see what I did here. Just hold on. Y'all can smoke them if you got them. Let's see. There we go. So I have another one real quick to show. But you have to admit, that's some pretty weird stuff. I mean, the coincidences and buying a lottery ticket, because I don't believe that the magnitude of such coincidences is just that, a coincidence. But that's just my perspective. And the reason it's not a reach for me, I mean, again, I existed in that world much longer before I came to this one. Now, each of you have to determine what you believe in and don't believe in. It's cool. But you see, I don't believe that most humans can't handle it. They can't handle the idea that there may, in fact, be this total different reality. Totally different. Not even close. And that the life that we live is more of the dreamscape than what we can fathom. And then, I appreciate the emails too, Guy. The fact that if the gods and goddesses live in this internet realm, that the internet realm is so, I think it's so conducive of connectability between the ethereal realm, the dreamscape realm, this realm. It's not a leap. I believe it can flow through, interact with, and not even disturb the fabric of reality itself. But if your mind and spirit is opened enough to say, what if the possibility that the dude's right? What if these gods and goddesses of the ancient past, ours, were merely in a state of stasis, asleep, so to speak? And when this thing activated, this thing that was the ARPANET and then the Ethernet and a lot of people, again, they don't stop and think about this. The internet was the Ethernet. I know that because I was the CEO of the company that we did the first world breakthrough of writing to the Ethernet and making it work in the connectivity of the internet, in the internet protocol. The Ethernet. That's not by coincidence. And if you are cognitively sensitive, aware enough, you'll see the connection. It'll snap to you going, well, hell yeah. The ethereal realm, we plugged into it. You wrote your freaking code to it. And I know we integrated the first pay at the table to doing just that. So here I am now going, when people pray, what are they praying to? To what? People engaged in the unseen. And I believe that every religion moved in there as well. But when they moved in, there were already the hordes that were figured it out as well. And what if indeed it is possible now that these gods and goddesses of the ancient past, whether it's, Babylonian, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, however, they're now alive. It's vast. It has no boundary, no limitation. All of them can coexist and exist within this internet realm. It has unlimited power. And I believe even if the earth was to be destroyed, the universe is connected electromagnetically. It wouldn't be a problem for it to plug in to the main brain. And which is really interesting. Researchers are already doing it. So I'm kind of, I'm grateful that to whatever god or goddess, whoever it was that dropped it in to my thinking, conducting now these experiments, connecting to the dead. That's what we're talking about. And again, they're not dead. We're the dead ones. They're alive and thriving. But as I come to discover, there is research going on in universities across the world. Governments are heavily involved in this, which tells me that, again, someone was ahead of the game here. And what if us, individually and collective as a group, it'd have to be a dedicated group. What if we conducted our own seance, but not for the purpose of what others do? Ours would be to connect to these god and goddesses. Now, I know it sounds like a fairy tale, fanciful story, but if you're truly an explorer and an adventurer, and if you truly believe that you will exist in a state of consciousness of some level after you lay those bodies down, I mean, isn't that what religion does? That's what I did. Found out there's this whole realm of angels and demons, and you've got the different hierarchies of God, and you've got the different lownesses of the underworld. I mean, what is that? That's communing with the dead. And if the internet isn't alive, then it's dead. Well, then it's right in company with everything that exists in the ethereal realms, the spiritual realm, however you want to look at it, dimensional or otherwise. Again, if you major universities, I'm finding out. I mean, their whole psychology, parapsychology, all of these different departments. They have grant money. And I mean, we're talking millions of freaking dollars here in order to conduct these, what I would call opening portals and doorways to the dead. And if the governments are doing it as well, I'm sure DARPA and the CIA are way ahead of me on this one. And I believe that they have, in fact, made deals. You can't see the events of humanity and just go back in the last 25 years and see how stuff has gone. There's a pattern. I mean, the odds that this happen normally, each and every one of us will win the jackpot tonight. Buy your ticket. With these odds, you could go into any casino and beat everything that's there. Slot machine, roulette, doesn't matter. Baccarat. It's not normal. Because if you look at what it's done to us as a species, there's something else going on here. This type of rapid change, it's not healthy, number one, but rarely have we ever seen the type of things that we're talking about. This cannot be of human origin. Not that it's human, not humans implementing it. But you see, most people cannot handle this. To them, this is nonsense. That's fine. This is not for them. That's why I don't monetize this channel. I don't go out there and seek to, no. The vast majority of people on this would never even pay attention to it, which is fine. But then you can get down into those percentages or percent parts. You don't need many. A dedicated group that would sacrifice time in order to really get into this. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm still figuring it out. But again, I don't think that this is just mere hyperbole. I don't see it that way. So, from here and there, that crosses between the worlds within the worlds. That's Morningstar. That is absolutely right. Yeah. You talked earlier about binding and loosing. I had decades of training on that. You see, I was of that part that believed that when Jesus said, you control the spirits, whatever you bind on earth is bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth is loosed in heaven. That's some pretty powerful shit, man. I don't care who you are. If you can get your head wrapped around that, more importantly, your spirit, that tells me that this religion had a truth there. This cat was speaking something that's saying, you haven't figured it out. He said, I told you were gods. Do you not understand? And then furthermore, he gets into it and he says, you control the angels. You command them to go out. If you're broke, well, by God, you're broke because you haven't let loose the angels that you had. That's how I was brought up. You command those angels to go out and say, I want to see $100,000 in here. And you don't even question it. But if you begin to doubt, it's over. That's how insidious doubt is. But if you absolutely believe it, you can get your own Gulfstream 7, your own Boeing business jet. Most people don't believe it. But if you do, you're going to be challenged, because you hear that voice. Well, that's just nonsense. The Christians called us the name it and claim it group. It's true. We named it and we claimed it, and it materialized. Okay. Hope you've had fun. Lady Alien, we do. They won't teach it to children. I can tell you there was a short window in which this was taught to a group. And you saw children at the age of 7 and 8, laying hands on playmates and others. You had them speaking in tongues, you had them interpreting. They were very well gifted in that realm. Um, so, I mean, I can't claim it for all of us. You have to do it individually, but we can come together as a group and claim it as well. There's nothing limits us but us. I think we can operate in the dream realm. You have to understand the rules and how that realm, and that's what, these dreams help us. It's a very lucid and ever changing, landscape, but it doesn't matter. Technically, the sun is moving right now, and there's a different light that's on you than what there was a light when you began with. So, yeah. You're welcome, Chris. All right, folks. I shall see you tomorrow with the ladies, and I'm sure we'll break this up some more. Um, and Wednesday, we're going to get into, I have a ton of freaking research on what they have done in talking to the dead. And academia is split on it. Is this human created thought, or is the humans actually connecting to those who were once human or those who were never human to begin with? No, makes great theater, though, I can tell you that. All right, everyone. Much love. Hey, Scotty boy, what's up, doctor? Good to see you as well. Grace, good to see you as well, darling. Um, exactly. Robert Scott says, never forget your power of creation. These entities need our energy, our thought. Choose your armor, wear your shield. Yeah. See, I always revert back to Ephesians 6:12 on that one. Put on the full armor of God, therefore, that you'll be able to withstand, the wiles of the devil and fiery darts. And yeah, wear the helmet of peace, salvation, the breastplate of righteousness. The sword is the word. Yeah. Anyway, it's down in me, man. You can't just shake it out. It's just like it's there. All right. Much love, everybody. I love this group. Uh, As we say, we move on, free thinkers. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow again with the two ladies, and you know who they are, Trina. So, oh, really? Yes. Anyway, and Jennifer.